more. Shoe cam, no, keep your feet down.
Because I was...
Now, you'll model them there. There you go, Moby.
Oh,
now,
so glamorous, right?
You know, what I love when people come here is that Shoe Cam exposes people's taste in shoes. Now, those look like they've been worn a bit.
Well, they have.
Some people buy brand new shoes when they come here. What's the story with these?
I am, and by the way, I'm so grateful I didn't have to dance. Because I know that dancing is a big part of being in the audience.
Yeah.
And like I showed up today and I was like, please don't make me dance. Please don't make me dance. Because I'm a 53-year-old middle-aged white guy.
Yes.
No one ever needs to see me dance.
Me neither. I'm not a dancer either, so I get you with that one.
And regarding shoes, my feet are cold.
Yes. Yeah, it's cold in here.
I like shoes that keep my feet warm. I had this gag I was gonna do. I was gonna come out barefoot because apparently in the entire history of your show, no one's ever been barefoot. And I thought that would be funny, except, and I know that temperature doesn't translate to TV.
Yes.
It's cold here.
It is cold.
And I'm a big sissy, and I don't like cold feet.
So here's the story with Moby. He grew up in the late 90s, came on the scene, I should say, in the late 90s for us.
Yeah.
And you blew up big.
Surprisingly.
A boy from Connecticut.
Well, I was born in Harlem.
Okay.
And then, and I lived in Harlem for a while, then my father killed himself.
Oh.
My mother and I moved back to Connecticut where she had grown up, and I grew up poor white trash in arguably the most affluent town in the United States, Darien, Connecticut.
One of my college roommates from Darien.
Really?
I've been there several times.
Uh-oh, do I know them?
Grethel?
I don't know, maybe. Did I date them in high
No,
school?
that was Wilton. Hi, Michelle.
Okay, yeah. But so growing up, we were on food stamps, we were on welfare, buying all my clothes at Goodwill and Salvation Army, but living in the richest town in the United States.
Yes.
So it's given me like a sense of shame and inadequacy.
What did Mom do for a living? Did she clean houses or something?
We actually cleaned houses together.
Okay.
Which is one of the reasons I still weirdly love cleaning. Because it was one of my favorite memories growing up is my mom and I would clean houses together when I was like 8 or 9 years old.
So millions of dollars hasn't changed you.
I'm really good at cleaning.
Yeah. Congratulations on this memoir. I
thanks.
can't wait to dive into it. You know, I was told some of the highlights and I said, wow, wow. So, love. You talk in this book, which is odd to me. You talk in this book about love is not the thing that makes you happy. You're not looking for love. Explain that, Moby.
Well, all my life, I thought that that the goal of life was to be happy and to be in a perfect relationship and to like move upstate and have a farm and have animals running around and have children. That clearly did not happen. Because every time I tried to get close to someone, I would have crippling panic attacks.
Really?
So almost every serious relationship I've had ended because I just couldn't deal with the panic I had around intimacy.
Okay, and I guess that ruined it for you and Natalie Portman. Yes,
Yeah.
You were dating Natalie Portman for a moment. How did you, Moby, are you clothed down below there?
Let's just leave that to everyone's imagination. But to be clear,
where did you meet her?
The naked part down below, it's nothing exciting.
Not so much? How did you meet her?
So when I started making music, I played in punk rock bands and I was a hip hop DJ for a while.
Okay.
And I started making records in the late 80s, and I thought maybe if I was really lucky, I would sell like 1,000 copies of a record.
Yeah.
And then in the late 90s, I put out this album, Play. And this was a very dark time. Like I was battling alcoholism, I had lost my record deal, my mom had just died, like it was battling panic attacks. And I put out this album, Play, and I thought it was gonna fail. And the first week, it sold 4,000 copies, which I was pretty happy with.
Yeah.
And then it got to the point where it was selling 200,000 copies a week. And it ended up selling over 12 million copies.
So you pushed into wealth and fame.
And it was so, considering, and that's sort of what the book is about, because I thought that fame was going to fix everything.
Yeah.
Like this poor kid from Connecticut who grew up cleaning houses with his mom, like suddenly, like I had money, I had fame, I had people like Natalie Portman coming backstage. And I was like, wow, this is great. Why am I so miserable?
Were you in therapy like several times a day, all the time?
Eventually, I did start going to therapy. I actually started going to couples therapy to try and salvage a relationship. And the first time I'd ever gone to therapy, and I thought that the therapist was gonna look at me and say, like, you're so smart and insightful, all these problems, they have to do with your girlfriend, and that's not what he said.
He said, you apart?
He said, your girlfriend's great, she's sane, she's smart.
Yeah.
You are a lunatic, and you need to be in therapy a few times a week. So I did start going in
So
therapy
somewhere in this behavior, the drugs fit in. It's in the book.
Oh, yeah.
All right, what were your drugs of choice?
Anything. So I loved.
You're sober now.
For 10 years.
Yes, yes. Okay. What were your drugs of choice, though?
I loved vodka, I loved ecstasy, I loved cocaine, I loved mushrooms, I loved smoking crystal meth with strangers in bathrooms. And I was what we colloquially refer to as a garbage head.
What's
like, if it was put in front of me, I did it.
Oh, gotcha.
You know, like, and sometimes, I remember one time I found a bag of drugs in a toilet at a dive bar on the Lower East Side at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Shut up, Moby.
And I took this bag of drugs. I had no idea what it was.
Right.
And it was like drug roulette. I was like, I'm gonna do all these drugs with no idea. Am I doing crystal meth? Is it cocaine? Is it heroin? And luckily, I didn't die, even though I wanted to, but.
Moby.
What?
So who were you surrounding yourself by? Because I know, okay, you dated Natalie Portman. At one point, David Bowie was your next door neighbor,
yeah.
So you were living large. And you are among the glitterati. But who were your good friends?
My best friends at the time, basically anyone I met at a bar at 3 o'clock in the morning, like, they were my best friends. And like, yeah, I was just looking for validation. You know, I needed that connection without real intimacy.
And so your father killed himself and your mother passed away. Who was your sober moral sounding board? Did you have an aunt or a friend from high school who's like Moby? I mean, is this your real name?
Well, so I'm related to Herman Melville, who wrote Moby Dick.
Okay.
And my parents had a sense of humor. So when I was born, they gave me the nickname Moby because I kind of looked like a little tiny whale, like white and blobby.
So who's pulling you and saying, Moby, you know, you're letting the sex, the drugs, and the rock and roll take you apart. Who is your person pulling at you?
Well, the funny thing about New York is no one. Everyone encouraged me. It was always like, drink more, go out more, spend more money, do this. But then when I finally bottomed out, I started going to AA meetings on the Bowery, and I met these amazing...
I go to some of those on the Bowery, too.
Like, living now?
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
And I met some like old bottomed out alcoholics. Like these guys, you probably know some of them, like in their 70s, their 80s, and they're like...
I don't talk much, I just go and observe.
Like people who are like sleeping on the sidewalk who truly bottomed out, but they have like a wisdom and a spirituality, and that's what saved me.
So now, I mean, this book is so interesting, and one of the other interesting things about you, you must be the only person that we'll ever know who gives away 100% of every dime he's making currently to charity. I mean, and it's not just about 100% of the proceeds of this book. When you are hired these days to DJ, you give 100% of your money to charity?
When I perform, I mainly perform at fundraisers.
Oh.
But basically, the thing is, like, some people, I'm sure everyone here and everyone watching, if you gave them a lot of money, they'd do great things with it.
Yes.
I was terrible with money. Like, I spent stupidly and it didn't make me happy. So now I live a really simple life, and whatever money I make, I give to charity because I was really bad at spending money.
And who is your partner? Do you have love? Would you have a partner now?
No, and I'm not looking for sympathy. I've kind of given up on the idea of ever having a relationship because I love my spiritual life. I love creativity. I love the idea of being of service.
Do you have regular sex?
You know, between you and I, the last time I had a romantic date was about 3.5 years ago. So I don't even, I'm like some weird monk or something.
No, you're not weird. You're our kind of people. What took you so long to get here? This is Moby, everybody. And his book is called Then It Fell Apart. It's in stores now.